Hi guys, welcome back. Now, I want you guys to get your Bibles handy because we're going to be talking more about the book of Genesis, which is the first book of the Bible. Now, do you guys remember what color section we've been learning about? Red is the color, that's good, and we call that the books of Moses. So remember that. We're in the red section and we're in the first book named Genesis. Can everybody say Genesis? Good job. Okay. So can anybody remember the name of the guy that we've been talking about the last couple weeks? Starts with a A. Abram. That's right. Or Abraham. And his wife Sarah. And their son, who they named Isaac. Good memory. So we've been talking about how important this family is because they started the family that turns into the nation of Israel. Wow, you guys are doing good. Good memory. Okay, so today we're going to paint a little bit of a picture of their family tree. Have you guys ever heard of a family tree before? I'm going to show you guys a little bit about my family. So if I imagine just a quick one, just a little part of my family. So it starts with my grandparents, my Oma and Opa as I call them. Maybe you call your grandparents grandma or grandpa. I call them Oma and Opa. And now my Oma and Opa, you might know them from church. So my family tree starts with my Oma and Opa at the top. Now, they had 7 kids. And their first kid that they had was my dad. Now, my dad married my mom, and they had 3 kids together, 3 girls. And I'm in the middle. I have an older sister and a younger sister. And then I married Mr. Eric. And me and Mr. Eric have how many kids? 3 kids, that's right. We have 3 boys. Willem, Ben, and Jasper. So this is a really tiny part of my family tree because I didn't tell you about my mom or my mom's parents and grandparents, but this is a small snapshot of what my family tree looks like. Now, I want you guys to figure out, what does your family tree look like? Maybe you can sit down with your mom or your dad or an aunt or an uncle or a grandma or grandpa, and they could help you build your family tree because I would love to see a picture of your family tree. You can send it to me if you want. So if we go back to the Bible and we look at the family tree of Abraham, let's build their family tree. So it starts with Abraham, and he married Sarah. And they had how many kids? 1. That's right. They had a son named Isaac. Okay, so this is as far as we've gotten in our lesson. So what happens next? Well, Isaac marries someone named Rebecca. So Isaac and Rebecca are married, and they have twins. Do you guys know any twins? We have some twins in our church, don't we? Yes, so they had twins, 2 boys, and they named the oldest Esau and the next one Jacob. Have you guys heard of Esau and Jacob? You might have heard of them from the Bible. So now we're going to focus, because they had 2 kids, we're actually going to focus only on Jacob for a few minutes. So Jacob, he marries 4 people. Yes, sometimes during the Bible, people had more than 1 wife. So Jacob married 4 people, and guess how many kids he had? He had 12 boys. We only hear about the boys here. So he had 12 sons named, ready for it? Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Some of those are pretty crazy names, aren't they? Let's find it in the Bible. Let's find where this family tree is in the Bible. So if you guys open your Bibles up to Genesis chapter 35, that means the big number 35. Big 35, little number 23 to 26. It lists all the sons that Jacob had. Now these guys are important because they make up the 12 tribes of Israel. This is where that comes from. Some of you may have heard of the 12 tribes of Israel. Some of you maybe haven't heard about that yet. And that's okay, because guess what? We're going to learn about it later in our Bibles. But this is where that begins. The 12 tribes of Israel start with Jacob's sons. Now, why do we call it Israel? Let's rewind for a second back to Jacob for a minute. Now, let me tell you something about Jacob. Jacob was a deceptive guy. Do you know what deceptive means? It means he was a liar. He was a trickster. He wasn't a very good guy. So that his name actually means deceiver. That's what the name Jacob means. One time, Jacob was moving with his family, and in the middle of the night, he got up and he saw a man. And that man was actually God. And he wrestled with God, like a big wrestle, so bad that he got his hip injured. And after that time, God said, your name is no longer Jacob. You are no longer going to be a deceiver. Your new name is going to be Israel. So at that time, God changed Jacob's name from Jacob to Israel. So his new name is Israel, and that's where we hear that this nation becomes named Israel. The rest of his family from then on gets named Israel. Crazy story, hey? Wrestling with God, isn't that wild? Well, Jacob was never the same after that, and that's why God changed his name, because he was no longer going to be sneaky and deceptive. He was going to be a man of honor. So that is the family tree of Abraham all the way till the 12 sons of Jacob, or we will call him Israel now. That's a pretty big family tree. And this is just the beginning of this family. We're going to learn more and more and more as we go through our entire Bible. Because let me tell you, someone really, really special is from this family. We learn about him in the green books, the Gospels. I wonder if you guys could think about who that could be. Jesus. That's right. Jesus is part of this family. Isn't that cool? Okay, well, we'll see you all next week. Bye.